O'clock. Would everybody please stand? Brother Benny, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this good day we've had to live and enjoy. We're thankful for the temperatures, for the earth itself coming forth and greening and budding, declaring the evidence of Mother Nature that there is God. We know that the evidence of our Word teaches us that there is a God. May we get to know Him. For the blessing of this meeting, those who serve you lately, and pray for bless them. Bless this meeting, the city, the main, be good ones that will affect people here. Pray, Father, that you will help us in what you do. And mercy promise for in Jesus. Amen.
Now we have to pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is citizens' input. Do we have any citizens that wish to speak about anything? If not, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Owen,
Present.
Vice Mayor Richardson, Alderman Bolander,
Here.
Alderman McLean,
Here.
Alderman Smith,
Here.
Alderman Woodward.
Next item is approval of minutes from February 2014 and special call from February 20, 2014.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from February 10th and from the February 20th special call.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the minutes from special call and regular meeting in February. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on the minutes?
In the February 20th work session meeting, as we called it, I perceive part of that to be an action item. I believe when the mayor asked Angie, the reporter, to prepare the letter for the property at 300 Muse regarding the fouls, which I see, was that to be done?
That wasn't for the work session. That's what we discussed earlier. I was telling her to remind her to make the letter for me, which she did.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that that got done. Because we'd had it previously talked about previous meetings that we wanted to let her draw it up. And that's what I was asking, if she had it drawn up. It wasn't an action on that one.
Thank you.
All right. Have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting minutes as read, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is approval of the financials.
What real property we got supposed to
We have a little parcel of land beside the post office. They pay once a year.
That's a yearly deal. How much is it? Well, we got a budget of 7,500. You know what? That is that difference, 628.17 to 853.17.
225.
225, okay. So that was paid in February then, right?
She normally pays that when she pays her taxes.
Who's got that?
Donna,
Oh, that's where her
For the-
trailer is, or her business.
we own that land there.
Yeah, okay. I knew that, but I guess I'm right.
He's ghosting that one because I cut the radio completely off.
We haven't been using that when Miss Karen put it on the other day.
On refuse, did we have a separate line item for our reimbursement on the grant for the recycling trailer? Or is it, because the only income I see on refuse is garbage fees?
It went in January under, I did it under garbage fees. I haven't transferred any money in there in a
Okay.
while. So that 11,175 was our reimbursement.
That's what I thought that was, and then,
Yeah.
and then I figured you probably just hadn't done a transfer in a
I
while.
haven't.
Okay. Do we need to have a separate line item showing that income for that coming in?
We might should.
I think we probably need to.
Yeah.
Might be something to talk to Lisa about.
Okay. Next time she's
Next
up.
time you got her,
Okay.
just say, hey, we need to have a, because that could be a red flag on audit,
Yeah.
because it's technically not a fee that we collect.
No, it's not.
Make a motion to approve the financials, Mr. Chairman.
Has everybody had a chance to look them over?
I'll say.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the financials?
I see we're about, say, 6-7 weeks from May 1 with taxes. And it looks like we've done a heck of a job this year on delinquent and penalties. Collected about 11,000. What is an outstanding balance that we still have on that?
We have one property that I'm working on. They've tried to come in every month and we're one of the ones that were very far behind. I have sent a certified letter that we're going to be contacting our attorney, and I have our attorney on standby to send them a letter. They're very far behind. And, I've spoken with him personally on the phone and told him, this has got to be taken care of. So the lawyer is the next step on that one. About $800 something plus penalties. So, and then
Is there another one? You said there's the first one?
the first one had come in and caught up 3 years, and they still have 3 to go in their current year. And then
What's the balance on that?
it was $640 plus penalties on that one. $640
For the 3 years plus the penalty.
plus penalties. But he has come in and made payments. So
Is he doing that on a regular basis?
he's done it.
Spasmodic?
He's a self-employed person, so he's trying as he finishes the job. But it's been like last month and then this month.
How many total properties do we have that are
Total, we have 1, 2. Well, that one's come in and that one's come in. We have about 15. Part of those are 2012, so we can't touch them until after.
Right.
We're in good shape as far as our past due taxes. We had a good response with the first letter we sent out back in August. I think you can see on.
You can see it on the
Yeah, we can
line
see,
there.
that's what I was saying. The first thing is,
I sent those
is
letters.
whatever we're doing is working. I just wondered how.
Well, once we
what's
get
the
it under
scope?
control,
Yeah.
then we're going to be back in compliance. Where when I send off for the tax cards, I notify them of who's past due. But it was in such a mess when I came in, and the state had actually told us, we didn't need to really be going after anybody till. So we're getting there.
Any more discussion? If not, got a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting the financials as read, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is police report from February. My sergeant was out today and didn't get the report done, and I've been in court all day today, so I didn't get the chance to come down and get it. We've had a few things that come up. Made a seizure on a vehicle, DUI seizure. Boy's attorney's done called me, won't know if we'll just give it back to him if he makes a contribution. And I said it's done been sent to the state. If he wants to contribute to the state $350 for a hearing, he can go for the hearing. He's revoked for DUI, so I imagine we'll be getting that vehicle. So there'll be some income coming there. I don't know how many citations we wrote. I know Brian stopped a lot because I hear him on the radio every day. Sam's been doing pretty good. So I guess until we get the paperwork down, we'll just put it off till next meeting. I just guess we need to table that one.
I think with the table, I'd add, we got the sign up down here at the end of Water Street. You hadn't had a chance to get by and see that.
Truck driver sign?
About the truck driver's
I'll tell you
sign.
what, it's easy to see if they miss it, they
Well-
just
We
get
had
a
one
file.
miss.
Well,
That was the intention.
We done had
5 hours after I put it up,
But yeah.
I was leaving church and I put it up last Wednesday at 3:30. And at 8:15, I was coming around Railroad Street and I saw lights headed up Water Street. And I got her stopped before she got in trouble and got her back down.
You mean she was even with the sign up? I don't think they care, of course.
Now,
saw it
she
when
was
she was
watching.
backwards.
She saw it when she backed up, but she's listening to that GPS.
She had a dog in the truck.
And she had the dog yapping at her, and so,
Oh, man, I had
But,
a Serv Pro, big trailer, about twice as big as Randy's box truck, followed me up High Street today, and that, I started to stop and block him and tell him he's gonna have to back all the way down, go around.
Yeah, they just don't get it.
Well,
don't care.
you moved that sign.
I moved the sign that was there that said no through trucks, and I took it up to the very end of the hill up there on that wooden post that says speed zone ahead, and put it there.
So they would have a chance to back up, right?
They can at least cut through Hart Street and get back
Yeah,
out on the
Hart
highway.
Street or, you know, even to the worst, they can turn down there at the station, come back out on the highway.
Yeah, but because the only other sign they had on High Street, they got there to Galt Street, and there's that little
Yeah, it's,
thing there, no through trucks, and for local deliveries only. So I moved the no through trucks sign that was at Water Street that they weren't paying attention to. I took it and moved it up there. And don't ever try to put in a 5-inch lag screw with a ratchet. It just doesn't work.
Kind of hard work.
It is.
you know,
So,
we discussed getting pricing on big signs. Who was gonna do that? You?
I got the pricing on that sign down there.
I'm talking about a big 4x8 plywood sign that you could put on each end of High Street.
We're gonna-
That we
we're
talked
gonna
about
be in
that.
zoning
Hey,
Huh?
Yeah, you
were
gotta
gonna
be
be
within
in
zoning
zoning.
regulations on the size of the
Can't
sign.
do that.
Be
It's-
nice.
I'd like to hang one across the road up there, hanging from like two big high poles, you know.
Yeah.
Do not enter.
Yeah. Our water line that runs under the road up there on High Street's taking a beating, and one of these days, they're gonna come through there and they're gonna bust it. And when they do, we're gonna have one heck of a problem.
But I make a motion to table the police report.
Yeah, I got a
If somebody hadn't
motion.
already done that.
So I have a second? To table the police report? Do we have a second?
We got a second.
Sure
Conway.
thing.
All right, any more discussion about tabling? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is approval of the water report. Jack?
Water purchase January 31st through February 27th, $1,449,300. We billed out $1,072,000. About 26% unaccounted for water. I still think we've got some small leaks out there. Or possibly folks are using the water, but and we didn't get it billed on that particular cycle. But I'm taking these numbers pretty close to the cycle that we're reading the meters, so it should be pretty close. Did notice, and I'm checking taking the meter readings and calculating the usage between each meter reading, and right now, the last one, we're averaging about 57,000 gallons a day, and that's up about 10,000 a day from what we normally do. So I think we still got some kind of problems out there. Still not terribly bad, but I still think we've got some problems. We'll try to keep an eye on it. Once we get into the warmer weather, we may want to get the late guys we said last month come in here and try to track that down. We're keeping a pretty close eye on it. I'm trying to make sure that they monitor it from reading to reading so that we don't get,
Yeah.
500,000 gallons in 3 days or something, to make sure we don't catch that. But I do think we have some type of something going on out there.
I think we got a leak somewhere.
Yeah, I still think we got some kind of leak. That's a little bit more than what I'd like for it to be. Not terrible, but still water going underground somewhere. And as we talked to water usage, it's been turned somewhat normal numbers up until last week or two. We actually got back down to 40-something thousand a day, and now I think we've got something else broke loose. So
I think it's in the county though. I don't think it's in the city.
yeah, so we're still trying to keep an eye on that, and again, we're watching, keeping an eye on it. I meant to give them a copy in the packet. Did you put one of them in their packet?
I didn't. I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah, you know where they are, don't you? Water quality reports have been completed, and she's going to get you a copy. We will be mailing those out again to our customers. What we're trying to do now on an annual basis, when we mail them out, probably in May, we're going to mail the water quality report, but also trying to utilize that stamp. We're going to put that town of Petersburg information sheet in there about whether it be a zoning thing, whether it be whatever, to get everybody in that's Petersburg resident or just outside Petersburg knowledge about what's going on. We can even put in there things like when Gussie Up Week is, no time late. So we just do an information letter / we'll send this copy as well and just kind of kill two birds with one stone. Last year we did the cross-connection surveys along with that.
And that customer update. So we're trying to utilize that, what is it now, 50-cent stamp or 49-cent stamp, whatever it is. We're trying to utilize that stamp and do several things. So we will be mailing these out. We don't have to have them out till July 1st, so we're way ahead of schedule there. But I did want y'all to have a copy. We did change colors. That's kind of we've been having blue, and I thought it'd be good to go to like this was kind of a greenish color. Just they all look the same from year to year, other than the dates. And I was just trying to get something that would distinguish from one year to the next. So that's why they're just a tad bit different color. I went to a light green. Our grant, our contractor, last week wanted to come and clean the tank. For whatever reason, didn't make it. He wanted to come starting tomorrow. I understand that's delayed because they're waiting on some respirators. It is a confined space area when they go down into the tank, so they're going to have some respirators. Apparently, they've got them ordered and hadn't got them in. So he did tell me that was a 2 to 3 day project. We are also communicating with Federal Public Utilities and those folks so that when we do that, we will be feeding directly from Federal for those 2 or 3 days and not have the storage tank. Also, we have talked to Bobby, our fire chief, keeping him aware of the same situation so that if something did happen, we could actually crank the valve a little bit open, contact FPU and be fed directly with him. So I don't, I'm not. One of the reasons for that is we're having to keep the tank so low. Because we're going to have to bring it on low.
Yeah, we don't want to waste any water if we can help it, so we're trying to work with them on all those. So that's the next thing. Of course, they have staked out the road, and they'll be working on the road up to the tank. Mr. Dillenback had asked about the hydrant flushing. I checked into that, and Tim said they are flushing all the hydrants. The list I had was an old list, but we've got the new hydrants on there, and he has been flushing those annually. And that will be coming up sometime in the warmer months. We'll do that again this year. And we had a call in last week, and we got our state inspection Friday. I met with Sherry Glass, and she was here for the most part of Friday morning. A little bit after lunch, she left. Thoroughly going over our reports, our documents. We did go out and do some coronization checks and things like that, and just our annual. I say annual. They come around about every 18 months, and so I don't see. She didn't have any major concerns. She did want to go up to the tank. I talked her out of that. Hopefully, by the next time they come, we'll have a road we can drive up there. We couldn't got there and walk, but what we had. The reason she didn't go, basically, y'all remember in October or November, we had the tank inspected by Yates, and it has a DVD. It has pictures. It's very. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see it, but it's very detailed pictures and everything. So she basically looked at that and kind of got what she needed to do. If we're going to do repairs to the cracks and all those kind of things during this contract, so she decided that would have been adequate enough. But I don't see any problems there. All our records were in good shape. She may have a few recommendations. I usually do. One of the things, our repairs, our new taps. We're doing work orders now. She was impressed with that, keeping up with everything that we do on the water side. But there are some, what I like, there's some forms in there about the repairs and stuff. And I talked to Tim about do the work order, but also fill this form out because it's just a real neat form to be able to give you all the information that you need there about repairs and new taps and things like that.
Okay.
That's kind of more my recommendation, I think.
We've even got Merle in the habit of the work order.
Yeah.
They used to not do that, and
Yeah.
now before he'll go out, he'll say, "You got my work order ready?" You know, he wants
I
that in
think our
hand
last
before he
sanitary
goes
survey
out.
was 96.
What?
Our last sanitary survey 18 months ago was 96. I'm thinking something like that.
Thanks.
And I don't foresee any problems. It wouldn't be that high or higher this time. We'll know a couple, 3 weeks from now. Talking about that too, one of the other items that I think somebody brought up last month, and I didn't have it on here, but I'll mention it. Tim Hill getting certified. I have researched, and we're going to try to get him lined up. Mr. Plain also talking about Angie, the website I gave you, that he might could do something online, and with him setting in for you sometimes, he might be able to, while he's in between customers, he might be able to do something online. We
They
need to look
said,
into that.
the way I looked at it, I checked it out a while ago. He can do continuing education online, but I think
But
the
not
initial
initial
classes he
training.
has to go.
Yeah, okay. But we're going to get him into April. We're going to try to get him into April 14th class, which I think is a good one. And there's another one on down the road in the summer, and then we'll try to get him. We'll get him to go take the test in November. We've missed the May deadline for whatever reason. March 1st is a deadline application for May, and I just didn't realize it was that close. So we will get him trained, send him to a couple classes, and then get him to take the test in November. And if he gets certified, then we will have another certified operator here, and beat me out wherever you want to do. But, and hopefully he'll get certified. I'm all for that, and then I'll get with him on more of the paperwork kind of end of it. Tim's very sharp, and I don't see any problem he can be able to do that, and hopefully eventually be sitting here doing the reports and the stuff for you. Not that I care, I don't mind being here for a while, but I'm just saying, it never hurts to have, you've been there and done that. We've been here where all of a sudden you don't have a certified operator, so if we can get 2 or 3 here, we don't have to sweat it so much. So, and I think it'd be good for Tim to get there, and then whoever else, as far as employment goes, the more the better, because again, you won't ever get stuck. And Petersburg, over the years, have a certified operator, then all of a sudden not have one.
Yeah.
And then they have to scramble. I know that's how I initially got started in Petersburg many years ago. Whoever, I think the county water system at that time was providing somebody, they decided they didn't want to do it anymore, and they came and asked.
Yeah, well, they didn't really ask. They told me either we get somebody or...
Well, yeah, you have to get somebody pretty quick.
Yeah, and they didn't give us much time.
Yeah, state don't like you not having a certified operator. So, but anyway, hopefully we'll get Tim certified by the end of this year. That's definitely our goal.
All right. Have a motion to accept the water report?
I'll make a motion to accept the water report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the water? If not, all in favor, accepting the report as read, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item goes under old business, be the second reading of ordinance 2014-1. Corey?
Hold on, Jack, let me borrow his copy. I already put mine in the file. No. I saw it. There it is.
Oh, I got it. I just hit the phone.
Okay. This is the second of 3 required reading. That's easy enough for me to say. Ordinance number 2014-1. An ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the town of Petersburg zoning ordinance as amended by changing the zoning classification of a certain property located between Russell Street and South High Street and consisting of .75 total acres and currently owned by the Petersburg Cumberland Presbyterian Church from R1 low density residential to C1 central business district. Whereas the Town of Petersburg Planning Commission has reviewed and discussed this proposed amendment and voted to recommend its passage to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and now therefore be it enacted by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Petersburg, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, that the official zoning map and municipal zoning ordinance of Petersburg, Tennessee is hereby amended as follows. By changing the zoning district classification from R1 to C1 of a certain property consisting of .75 acres as shown on Exhibit A. Section 2, that the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Petersburg, Tennessee hereby certify that the zoning request has been submitted to the Planning Commission of the Town of Petersburg for a recommendation, and a notice of hearing thereon has been ordered after at least 15 days' notice of the time and place of said meeting has been published in the newspaper of general circulation in the Town of Petersburg, Tennessee. This ordinance shall take effect 15 days from the day of its final passage, the public welfare demanding it. Section 3, if any section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance is for any reason declared invalid or unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, such holding shall not affect any section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance which is not itself invalid or unconstitutional. Section 4, in case of conflict between this ordinance or any part thereof, and the whole or part of any existing or future ordinance of the Town of Petersburg, the most restrictive shall in all cases apply. This was passed on first reading February the 10th, 2014. The public hearing, as required by law, was conducted earlier this evening at 6:30 on March 10th, 2014. This is the second of 3 required readings on Monday, March the 10th, 2014.
Now I can do my thing. Y'all got me earlier, I jumped ahead of the program. Alrighty, we've heard ordinance 2014-1, what it consists of. Like Alderman Smith said, we had public hearing earlier. Now we're having the second reading. Do I have a motion to accept the second reading?
I make a motion to accept the second reading of ordinance 2014-1.
Do I have a second?
A second motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this ordinance? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Second reading is passed. Next item is review of the letter for fouls in the city limit.
We just need to bring your Kentucky Fried Chicken here.
Yeah, he brings chicken place here.
I think some has moved out, haven't they?
They have.
Some of them moved over the hill, over on the ramp over.
Across the road.
Yeah, by the creek, just across the road.
Find a chicken across the road.
Get outside.
To hide from the police and the mayor.
Get outside and see that county over there.
It's we've had several complaints. I've had a couple letters from one gentleman, and he said his next thing would be seeking legal representation. So,
Is that down my way?
yeah,
What was that now?
he's going to seek legal representation because the ordinance has not been held up on these chickens. He said he was tired of cleaning chicken poop off his porch and off his vehicles and everything else. I can understand. No, I don't blame him at all.
As long as he
So I
says
did tell him that we was gonna get letters sent out to everybody. The only thing that I see here that we're missing is we've got down what the minimum requirements are, spaces and keeping them as a nuisance. Your residences or businesses running large. The only thing that I see that we might need to put in there is that they could be fined. This is a courtesy letter the first time.
Yeah.
Get them to get into compliance. If not, then they will be fined.
Since we're in legal,
Yeah.
I mean, I had him test draw this up.
Mhm.
So I'll just contact Jeff and have him
Well, what
revise
we
it
can
a
do,
little
since
bit.
him has done it, is let's send this out as a courtesy letter. And
Well,
just
he can
put in
have-
there with, just put in there with it that if they don't come in compliance within 30 days, that they are subject to fines.
Now, are we doing multiple people? Or are we starting at Muse Street? Or,
I think it needs to be, everybody's got
All at
chickens
one
and
time.
turkeys and everything else that's
Let them be equal.
braying. praying mantises and everything else. I used to have emus across the street from me. Buddy boy, don't think they won't give you a scare early in the morning when they go screaming and carrying on.
So you gonna send it to everybody in the city of Page?
Anybody that has chickens or turkeys or ducks, geeses, gooses, gators.
Do we have a pretty good idea who that is?
Yeah.
Why don't we send it to everybody?
Because it's 49 cents.
Well, that's 49, yeah.
Everybody that has a
Let's
chicken.
put it in the letter with our reports here.
We could.
Well, when you
And
gonna
send it to everybody,
when you
that
gonna
way-
send the report off?
Well, it could be
I want
May.
it done now. Because the man sent me a letter
Reports can go now too. I mean,
2 weeks ago, and I told him we'd take care of this, we was working on it, and I don't want to push the issue and then him sue us.
I mean, but the reports can go now too.
Yeah, well, if they
I mean,
can, that'd be.
Look, here's the thing, I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting here and I'm living out here and I don't get a letter, and I'm not paying much attention, and then all of a sudden I say, I believe I'll put me some chickens in there. I didn't get a letter.
Well, if you don't have no chickens, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I'm saying
He might decide he wants
I may take an ocean to put chickens in, and
But if nobody else has any chickens, you know something's wrong. Because they're gonna be
Yeah.
cleaned
That's what I'm
up.
saying. I
Or
mean,
see them building them high rises.
if you give everybody a letter, then everybody has had a letter.
I got a feeling once he's hit, everybody's gonna know.
Exactly, that's what I
Yeah,
said.
because they're gonna get on Facebook, and they're
Or
gonna
took
get
to
on
the dollar
Twitter.
store.
But I'm just saying though, if we're gonna send out the reports,
Oh,
I don't want to do any
yeah,
extra money, but that.
They 6 or 7 that's got
Two birds, one stone.
big problems with them.
That's where I get my information. That's where I get called all the time. It's the dollar store.
But I've always been one to address the problem with who is causing the problem, not everybody. Because a lot of times when you address it with everybody, they take a bad taste in their mouth and then they start looking for reasons to buck on you.
I think just save the postage. And the ones that's got the chickens, they get a letter.
I'll get the addresses together tomorrow after I get out of court. Hopefully I'll get out of court sometime early. I hope.
I can get Merle and Nathan.
Yeah.
Is there right?
Get them right around, take up the address and bring them in, turn them in. And then Cindy,
That way everybody's got it.
everybody had a chance to look at the chicken letter. Or the fowl.
Foul letter.
Something you gotta vote on.
I don't, we
No,
don't have to
no, I
approve
just
it or
wanted, I just
anything, do
wanted to
we?
put up here so we could look at it, just take a look at it. And some of these animals are not being treated like they should be treated either. Yeah, so get them, go around tomorrow and get addresses on everybody that has chickens in the, or any kind of fowl.
That thing are within 300 feet of a dwelling.
That's gonna knock a bunch of them out.
That's the length of a football field, 100 yards.
Yeah.
You could have a pretty big lot if you don't have chickens a football
You're
field
right.
away from your house, from your back door.
I see them running all over town.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And what's not running loose are in little bitty cages, which I think is not right.
My neighbor just brought a rooster in, but I had it tied to a dog house, and it goes in that dog house like a dog. It does. If it's raining, you look
Okay.
over there, and it's sitting in the dog house.
All right. Well, let's move on since we had a chance to look at the letter. We'll get the address. Huh?
He ain't bothering nobody.
No, I don't think it might be an attack chicken. I don't know.
I think
Garden
it's a pet chicken. Can't believe we spent so much time on chickens the last week.
Under new business, we got resolution 2014.
Oh, yeah, 2014,
Okay,
it's a
resolution.
resolution.
Okay, I was looking at it, I thought we just went over that.
We've talked about this before, and I actually presented it as an ordinance. And then when I talked with OSHA, we were supposed to present it as a resolution. So I talked to Jeff, and he said just to present it back to the board as a resolution. It's worded basically the same, it just has to be passed one time, so we just have to read it and pass it. Corey?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Start charging about a word. Resolution number 2014-1. Resolution to establish an updated occupational safety and health program plan, devise rules and regulations, and to provide for a safety director and the implementation of such program plan. Whereas, in compliance with Public Chapter 561 of the General Assembly of the State of Tennessee for the year 1972, the Town of Petersburg hereby updates the occupational safety and health program plan for our employees. Whereas, due to various changes in subsequent years, it has become necessary to amend the program plan to comply with more recent state requirements. Now, therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Petersburg that there be and is hereby amended as follows. Title: the section shall be known as the Occupational Safety and Health Program Plan for the employees of the Town of Petersburg. Purpose: the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, in electing to update the established program plan, will maintain an effective and comprehensive occupational safety and health program plan for its employees and shall, 1, provide a safe and healthful place and condition of employment that includes A, top management commitment and employee involvement, B, continually analyze the work site to identify all hazards and potential hazards, C, develop and maintain methods for preventing and controlling the existing or potential hazards, and D, train managers, supervisors, and employees to understand and deal with worksite hazards. 2, acquire, maintain, and require the use of safety equipment, personal protective equipment, and devices reasonably necessary to protect employees. 3, record, keep, preserve, and make available to the Commissioner of Labor and Workforce Development or persons within the Department of Labor and Workforce Development to whom such responsibilities have been delegated adequate records of all occupational accidents and illnesses and personal injuries for the proper evaluation and necessary corrective action as required. 4, consult with the Commissioner of Labor and Workforce Development with regard to the adequacy of the form and content of records. 5, consult with the Commissioner of Labor and Workforce Development as appropriate regarding safety and health problems which are considered to be unusual or peculiar and are such that they cannot be achieved under a standard promulgated by the state. 6, provide reasonable opportunity for the participation of employees in the effectuation of the objectives of this program plan, including the opportunity to make anonymous complaints concerning conditions or practices injurious to employee safety and health. 7, provide for education and training of personnel for the fair and efficient administration of occupational safety and health standards, and provide for the education and notification of all employees of the existence of this program plan. Coverage: the provisions of the Occupational Safety and Health Program Plan for the employees of Petersburg shall apply to all employees of each administrative department, commission, board, division, or other agency, whether full-time or part-time, seasonal or permanent. Standards authorized: the occupational safety and health standards adopted by the Town of Petersburg are the same as, but not limited to, the State of Tennessee Occupational Safety and Health Standards promulgated or which may be promulgated in accordance with Section 6 of the Tennessee Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1972, TCA Title 50, Chapter 3. Variances from standards authorized: upon written application of the Commissioner of Labor and Workforce Development of the State of Tennessee, we may request an order granting a temporary variance from any approved standards. Applications for variances shall be in accordance with the rules of Tennessee Department of Workforce Development, Occupational Safety and Health. Variances from Occupational Safety and Health Standards, Chapter 0800-1-2, as authorized by TCA Title 50. Prior to requesting such temporary variance, we will notify or serve notice to our employees, their designated representatives, or interested parties, and present them with an opportunity for a hearing. The posting of notice on the main bulletin board shall be deemed sufficient notice to employees. Administration: for the purposes of this resolution, the town recorder is designated as the Safety Director of Occupational Safety and Health to perform duties and to exercise powers assigned to the plan, develop, and administer this program plan. The Safety Director shall develop a plan of operation for the program plan in accordance with the rules of Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, Occupational Safety and Safety and Health provisions for the public sector, Chapter Alt-1-Alt5, as authorized by TCA Title 50. Funding the program plan: sufficient funds for the administering and staffing the program plan pursuant to this resolution shall be made available as authorized by the Town of Petersburg. Severability: Section 2, be it further resolved that if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phrase, or portion of the resolution is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional by a court of any competent jurisdiction, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provision, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions thereof. amendments, etc. Section 3, be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect from and after the date it shall have been passed, properly signed, certified, and has met all other legal requirements, and is otherwise provided by law, the general welfare of the town of Petersburg requiring it. Do not attempt this at home.
It's a resolution, we have to vote on it. Just one time though. One time.
Make a motion to accept resolution number 2014-1.
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any discussion on the resolution? Well, these things we're already, well, actually, we're already taking care of. She takes care of the records. Any occupational accidents, she takes care of those. She gets stuff sent into the state wherever it needs to go. This is just updating everything and to make sure that we do have things in place and that our employees know about it. I don't see why we don't run a copy off and give to each employee and have them sign a paper showing that they got it and they need to read it. That way they know what their rights are under here, what they're supposed to do, and that they need to report an accident when they have it. Don't wait 3 or 4 days later and report one. Okay, got a motion and a second to accept it. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor of accepting resolution number 2014-1, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Be passed. I didn't sign that for you. All righty. Except week for Gussie Up Week. I think we'd already discussed something about the first week of April, wasn't it? Or
7th
second?
and the 14th, I think is when we need to do it.
Between when?
The 7th and the 14th. What do y'all think? That gives people the week of Good Friday.
I thought we'd been doing 2 weeks.
That's what I'm saying, from 7th, the week of the 7th.
Oh, you're saying the week
and
of the 7th and the 14th,
Yeah.
not stopping on the 14th.
No.
Well, see, we've always called it Gussie Up Week instead of Gussie Up 2 weeks. We just put Gussie
But
Up Week.
if we catch that second week, you're gonna have Good
Yeah.
Friday, and you may have some people that are off that day that may.
Yeah, that might do some stuff while they're off.
Some of them might not do nothing.
That's true.
We're going to afford them the opportunity.
I
We're
don't-
gonna give them the
I
opportunity.
don't know if this is something we could do, and I
But
just
you
thought of it,
really-
but
You really get them full.
what if we brought Miss Karen's crew up a Saturday or so? If they're available to help people, older people, or
You
You know,
can, you can. The only thing that you look at
is that liability?
is
or-
the liability of them picking up heavy stuff or getting cut or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's just helping them to remove some, just a little old junk stuff, I don't see why we couldn't.
You might, if they go on somebody else's property, you might have to let them sign off on it.
Sign a
Yeah.
waiver.
Or have folks have it by the road, like we have them.
Or if they have it by the road, we just come by and pick it up, because they pick up garbage and bottles and stuff on the side of the road.
It's just a thought, I mean.
Might be better if we get it set on the side of the road. If we need help doing it, we can help some folks get stuff set out there and then come back and get it.
You know, we've got the trailer open now we can use to
We got
haul stuff with.
one
You know
load of
what?
scrap hauled off.
When Mayor Fulcher was there, you know, he'd get out.
Helpful.
Yeah. I've seen him many a time on that riding lawnmower pulling a trailer. With a bunch of junk on it. Yeah. So we got trailers, if we can get it set out there, we can haul it off, or bring it down here. And I think a lot of people that are not able to put stuff out, you know, we can give them a little urge and help them with it.
We hauled one load of scrap off this last week and got $381.80, I think.
Good. All right, so we're looking at the first 2 weeks of April.
Need to make sure to put that in the mayor's column.
All right, first 2 weeks of April.
Do we need a vote on that, or?
I make a motion, we set Gussie Up Week for April the 7th through the, the 19th.
All right, got a motion, do I have a
Second.
second? Got a second, any more discussion?
Dumpsters. Are we gonna just use the
I guess we
dumpster
need-
we're
we
keeping,
probably
or
need
we
an
need to
extra
order an
dumpster.
extra one?
Let's get an
I
extra.
think it's good to roll that other one in here.
Yeah.
During that time.
We
We're
usually
gonna-
do, we usually have two.
Our plan is if weather permitting Thursday, we're gonna haul that other load of scrap out, so we'll
Okay.
be freed up a little bit there.
Okay.
You might wanna get that trailer where you can get to it in wet conditions
Yeah,
tomorrow.
That's true.
all right. Any further discussion? Now, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor of setting Gussie up week for the 7th through the 19th, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, next item, Mr. Gary, approved work for old water treatment building.
Okay, this was kind of on me. TML came down last year to do their yearly inspection, and we had some, that was one of our write-ups. Broken windows. Commissioner Gary brought us the bid in. My only question, and I don't know what y'all want to do, I don't see putting windows back in it.
No.
TML actually suggested, since we don't
Just
use the
boarding it up,
building,
wasn't it?
just to put plywood in the windows and board it up. And, I mean, that's almost $1,200 worth of expense that I don't see.
No.
But, I do think we've let him do every other building, and he's done such a great job. Everything we do, you know, especially if they've already written us up on it, it needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
It helps our insurance prices. So,
this from Pebble Lumber, that total there
building.
includes the windows?
yes.
$11.95.
The $1195.96 is the total price of the windows. I think we need to just remove that.
Oh, that would come off the 2175.
Yes, sir.
2175, yeah. But then you'd have to add back
Plywood.
plywood.
Yeah,
Okay,
plywood
what
and
is
what they
the-
gotta do to them.
What is this, what is this shelving here you got in here?
I think they were going to make that building accessible for us to put store stuff in there. We're gonna have to cover up that big hole in the middle of the floor, and then also put some shelves up to store records and whatever.
How's the roof?
The roof is good.
And
It's just that they shot the windows out, those rocks through.
you know something else, Miss Barbara? He's got $180 worth of paint. We could get some of that paint from the place you went. That might
Yeah.
save us that much
Instead of
money.
buying paint.
We could have it here for
They
him.
got it.
Have,
That's up at Morgan's.
I was gonna
Morgan
say,
Thomas, all you have to do is call him.
okay, is that where you got it from?
Uh-huh.
That's what I was
So
gonna
Cut
say.
that
Well,
down.
I want to ask a question
Uh-huh.
though. That hole in there is full of water, right? Or is it? I thought I
I
heard
don't-
somebody say it was. I've never been in
I
it.
haven't.
They'll have to
Basement,
stop.
you talking about the basement?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say, if I was gonna guess, I'd say you're right, I'd say it's water.
Wouldn't that need to be filled in?
I think we need to pump it out and then close off where the water's coming in at.
But, having said that, I haven't been over in a while, they killed that water line,
Yeah.
and if it's holding, it might be dry.
You can't store
What about
anything.
plexiglass on those windows? Would that?
It
or is that
might,
just
I mean,
something-
the
well, that probably
BB,
wouldn't
there are
hold
little
up.
pellet guns and stuff around here.
Shoot it.
They'll- And I think that, you know, and I know that would look so much better, and, but I know that's what he had suggested, that our
Well,
team,
We're just trying to get the thing to look decent. but
Yes.
yet pass
What?
inspection.
yes.
What's the feasibility of just bricking them in?
Because he's got that little painted, isn't that the?
How many do we have?
6,
They're pretty good sized
What
windows.
are they, what would you get?
61 3/4, 45 3/4 by 61 3/4, 40.
Inches?
Yeah.
47 1/4 by 46.
So you're talking about 4x4s, 4x4s. 4 4s, 24, 6, 24s, that's really not that much. We find out what we buy the bricks, mortar and sand for, I might get the later donated. I didn't say I could.
That
I
would look
might.
better than plywood.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking if you're using it for storage, you know, if you're gonna be storing documents and records over there, you want that as secure as you can get it.
Well, and our concern too was, if we block everything up, we may have to put some type of electricity back in
That's what
it.
I was thinking, is there power in there?
There was at one time, but we
I
don't
don't
pay
think there
a
is
bill on
now.
it now.
You wouldn't, probably, if you did that, you probably wouldn't have much light, even if you poured it up.
But that would tickle Mr. Gary to death because he wants power to the jail, so we can jump off of it and go to the jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. First, my first concern would be mosquitoes and everything coming from that water in that basement.
Well, like Jack said, that water line has been off from there for years.
I know at one time, and it's been a while, I know at one time there was water in the basement.
Could we put like a continuous sump pump or?
Yeah, you know, and it might not be just necessarily from water lines, it could be from
The creek.
seepage in from the creek and
that ditch
rain.
right next to it, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever, water table in there.
I'd have to put electricity to it, put a sump pump in it, pump it out.
What the reason I brought it up was I was thinking, what would it cost me to just fill the basement in with dirt and then floor over? If it's not needed, that would eliminate the water problem.
Do you remember when they came last year for our inspection? I mean, I think we have them. I know you went around.
I went
with them
around
last
with
time.
him, yeah.
What was gravel?
They'll fill it up with gravel and pour concrete
Yeah.
on it. You get Jack, Gary to look at that, figure the cost.
It's true.
That would eliminate the water.
Either look, just get Tim to look tomorrow. See what kind of shit, I mean, you know.
You want to table this till?
Yeah, let's take a look at it and see what we're gonna have to do and try to figure out.
There's a little bitty, that little bitty building, it's not really a building, isn't there a little bitty offset to that building? It's got a door, you know what I'm
It's
talking
on the side of it.
about? On the side of it.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was the old Coronation building. What are you gonna do with this?
If it's
I don't think
attached,
it- I
he's
don't
got
think
it in the
it's that-
bid.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big.
No, it's not. Probably need to
Just
go in
open the
there
door and
and,
walk in, that's about all
maybe
you
some
got.
old scales, whatever's in there probably needs to be taken out.
Yeah. Yeah, let's table it and then we'll take a look at it this week.
I'll try to make sure, I'll get Tim or something and we'll try to go through it
Okay,
and see what
we'll see what we got. All right.
Do we need a motion to table?
I make a motion to table the
Work on
item
it.
on work on the water treatment field.
Got a motion, do I have a second to table it?
Second.
A motion and a second, any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye to table. Any opposed? Next item is senior citizens.
Well, I've got a couple of things I wanted to run by the board, and then Ms. Trish will make a report later on, down at the bottom down there. The way I understand it, the town of Petersburg's letting us use that building, but we're responsible for keeping it maintained. We're responsible for doing any work on it. Okay, here's a problem we've run into, that counties like Marshall and Lincoln County don't want to give money, and we have to be very careful how we word our letter when we're requesting funds from those two counties, as to not let them know that the town of Petersburg owns the building. My question would be for us to, for discussion would be, could we write up a lease from the town of Petersburg to the Senior Citizens Center Board, lease that building to the board? We would own the building under a lease, but the town of Petersburg would still have it, and if the senior center ever was dissolved, it would revert back to the town anyway. And we could have it written up in that manner. That was one thing that would alleviate how we could ask for monies from government entities to repair the building, because we would be the leasee on the building, and required to do paper all the work. Something to think about. It's, you know, I'm just
We'll
throwing
get
it
her
out
to call MTS and check on that.
for discussion, and that would help on that. And then the next thing would be, the biggest, another big thing would be, is we would like for the town, and we'll bring this up when we're doing our budget, but for the town of Petersburg to pay us a monetary amount and still buy the gas for us, but let us repay the town for the gas that we use.
So y'all are in on our bid?
Yeah,
We
you
would go back.
Yeah,
I
you would
think
go back
before-
like, if you do it like you did this year, you do the same thing, but every time gas was delivered to us, we would write you a check for our portion of it. And then you would make a
Go back to the
monetary.
$1,500?
Yeah, back to
Yeah.
that. And this is some of the recommendations that Gene Robertson has made to us that might help us alleviate some of the questions that could come up if an audit should ever be done, or if a question was raised by Lincoln County or Marshall County. And
They do the same thing on the water bill?
they pay the water, the town pays the water.
We pay the water and the insurance.
And we pay the electricity, and we're required to keep the building up.
We run into something similar to that, where they really don't want you, but what was that here, Angie? Wasn't it here, wasn't it? That they want you to pay the water bill here.
Yes, we have to pay the
Yeah.
water bill here, at the fire departments, at the pavilion,
Yeah.
and at the senior
But we're
center.
doing that at the senior citizen, so that wouldn't make a difference.
And the next thing, the 18th of Tuesday, the 18th at 5 o'clock at our Railroad Street facility, we will be having our quarterly Board of Directors meeting with members and anybody else that wants to come. And it'd be 5 o'clock that evening. The other thing is, and it's a little early, but on April the 12th, we will be having a country ham breakfast supper at our Pickett building over here, with all net proceeds going to the senior center. We want to make enough money, or try to make enough money to get Mr. Gary down there and do some work on the building. And I know he's already gave us a price on the materials, which they've probably gone up some, to do the outside work, but that floor inside, it's about half of it is in bad shape. And, you know, if we have a big function down there with 60 or 70 people in there, we might have a problem. But that was the two things, or three or four things, that I had for consideration as far as my part of the senior center is concerned. And Ms. Trish will give us a report on what's been going on. And I don't think we have to need a motion on that.
Give me a notice on the breakfast.
We did
I'll
what?
give you a flyer, look, next meeting, and you'll be announcing it.
Yeah.
All that week.
Yeah.
And I was telling them that, some of them that, Mary Ann Tackett came by to our picking and grinning Saturday night. And then Sunday night, she really praised our picking and grinning in Petersburg on her nightly show. So that was a good plug there.
I had a man, it was today, talking about a lot of people from Flintville were there.
Yeah, we had a bunch of Flintville there. But anyway, that's what I've got.
We had somebody from Flintville at our community center because of the paper. They saw it in the paper and decided to come see us.
All righty. Next item is weed killer for the park.
I don't think this is going over discretionary, but I believe we paid for the weed killer last year, but we wondered if y'all, since it is the town's park, we're getting ready to put our mulch down, and we really need to get this on down. I called co-op today to get the prices, but Ellis isn't in, Darcy wasn't sure what we used. so.
2.5 gallon jug probably gonna run you around $50. And it's gonna make more than enough to handle what they need to do out there.
So we should be
What,
fine
one
there.
jug with?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that ain't much.
Mainly we do the playground, but what I was telling Darcel today, whatever we put down, I want it safe where if 2 hours after we put it down, the kid face plants, he's not gonna get sick or something like that,
Yeah.
so.
Once once glyphosate hits dirt, it's inert.
Okay. That was,
It's, once it, now if he's out there, licking mulch while we're spraying it, he's gonna get sick. Okay, but, if he's licking mulch, he's gonna get sick. to
I
start
was
with.
thinking a couple
Well, we're
hours
gonna do
later.
that, we'll do that before we'll put mulch down anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if I can,
If you
we'll
could get
do it
Nathan to
tomorrow.
even do it Friday,
Well, I thought tomorrow's
Thursday
gonna
or
be a good hot
Friday.
day, it may be a good day to go
Yeah.
out there.
Day, tomorrow,
Be the only
it's supposed to be
day
about
this week,
70-something
I think.
degrees.
and we could do it one day this week, and then we know for sure, especially if it's earlier in the day before a lot of kids are at school.
Don't even know if we, that may be more of a information type thing, then I don't know if y'all need to vote on that or not, but.
I think it's
Yeah.
at $50, it's under
Yeah.
discretionary,
Yeah, go ahead,
buy it
just-
on street fund.
Go ahead and do that and get that took care of.
I do, now, I've said this in years past, I do think we need to look at it now that, we're starting to get looking into this. It may be time to look into getting them a sprayer that they can use for situations like that, and even out here, cut some of this
Yeah.
trimming out around some of these
Yeah.
fire hydrants and stuff.
Fire hydrants around here outside and out back. Yeah,
The parking lot.
Parking lot, square,
yeah,
not out here shattering windows with rocks off of weed eaters.
yeah. I think you're right there. I think we do need to get that. Yeah. All righty. Next item, Lions Club asking if we will sponsor a class.
They are getting ready, they're selling their ads for the horse show. And I don't know if we've ever sponsored a class, but I think it would be a good thing for us to show them support. They do a lot for everybody here. And I enclosed the list so everybody could see.
Is this what this is, handwritten thing?
It
Yeah, I was
is.
looking at that, trying to figure out what.
I don't know how you guys feel about it, but normally we provide our police protection and then they hire one of our other policemen to, they pay him.
Yeah.
But I just thought it might be
Yeah, the Lions Club has done a lot for us.
Yes.
I have no problem.
this year we may start out with a class sponsor. We'll have $150.
I would be for
Yeah.
a class sponsor. That's $150.
Yeah.
For what they pump into this town,
Yep. And all that they've done for the town.
it's more than worth that.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty.
And if you ever been out there and you look through that program, I mean, it's even individuals that'll come in and sponsor classes.
Yeah.
They're having a Saturday night show this year,
I think,
What's the date on the show, do you know?
May the 17th.
Well, I've already got a flyer at the station.
Okay.
May the
I
17th.
believe
Wait a
May
minute, I
the
think-
17th.
Is that a Saturday?
I know in
It
years
is
past, they've had
Saturday.
it on that Friday night, and it ends up conflicting with graduation and
Yeah.
things
I
forward.
think
So
they
they moved
decided
it
the
back.
Saturday night show.
17th, May 17th.
Okay. Yeah, they usually had it on the Friday of graduation. Yeah.
Is that like in the evening?
4 p.m.
4 o'clock. It usually goes into the night.
26 classes.
It's amazing, the people that come here.
From all different places. I'm like Corey, I don't see any problem with a $150 class sponsor. All right. I guess everybody good with the $150 class sponsor?
Now, is that, I'm just gonna ask the question here, and I'm not trying to nitpick at it. Is that just, that's getting it in the program
And announced.
and announced?
Yeah.
There's no signage privileges that go along with that or anything?
No
It's just
signage
announced.
privileges, and I guess it's in the program. I know it's announced.
I know it'd be in the program, yes, both it says that. Okay. All right.
All
right.
In the program, but that's.
Okay. All right. I need a motion to do the $150 class sponsor.
So moved.
So I have a motion, do I have a second? Do we get a second? No. He's ahead of me again. He's done it twice to me now. Okay, got a motion and a second, got any more discussion on the Lions Club? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Next item, you have a letter in there from Alderman Smith concerning his goats. What it is, he's asking the Chief of Police and Honorable Board of Mayor and Aldermen, I'm requesting permission to have on my property at 304 South High Street, Petersburg, Tennessee, 37144, 15 to 20 goats and 1 donkey. They have a total area of 51,779 square feet to occupy. I have adjoining property owners of Doug Sumi, Barbara Thornton, and Karen Fulcher. I talked to Corey about this a little bit earlier. I see no problem with it. It's the area that he's got. He's got places for them to get into. They got places they get into on their own. But I have no problem with that.
How's your football field length? Are you 300 feet from your back of your house, your back door?
Yeah. He got a big area back there.
I'm more length than I am width down there.
And like I said, as being as the acting chief, I see no problem with it. I've looked at there from both sides of the road. He didn't know that, but I
They
have.
smell good?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they don't leave any foul odors.
okay.
Good name. Holler,
Yeah. But I have no problem with that. I'll put it before the board. What does the board think?
As long as he's got the required footage, he's okay to me.
He's covered.
I hadn't stepped it off though, Corey.
You better watch it, buddy.
Get that tape measure out there.
Get that tape measure and measure.
He wants to know why I don't have 2 donkeys listed in the letter.
I've heard that before.
I just said if there were a limit to how many donkeys could be at one residence.
I think Ms.
that
Barber
make
knew
2?
that last time.
Okay, well, I caught that now.
My mother-in-law only visits once a month, thank you very much.
All righty, moving along here. Do we?
We gotta,
Yeah.
do we need to make a motion?
I'm making a motion to accept this letter.
Okay, got a motion, do I have a second? A motion and a second, any more discussion about the 2 donkeys? If not, all in favor of accepting the letter, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
All right. Then we have, the next is Resolution 2014-2, Driver Safety Grant.
This is a grant that I applied for through TML. It's a matching grant. I believe it's up to $1,200. I meant to look at it again. All we have to do is sign off on it, and I'll send them in the paperwork, and they'll do a 50-50 match. Should have.
I had some many pages,
Well, I was trying to keep y'all informed this time. Here you go.
you got an extra one?
So this is to provide training for our employees on safe driving.
Oh, yeah, I've got
What
it.
this is.
I'm sorry.
Well, it could be anything from a television to a projector screen. I actually applied for things, but it's been a little while since I went to a risk management conference, workshop with TML last week, and kind of got a refresher course and some things.
So it can be used for anything that would be used in the training of safe driving practices?
Yes.
Hey. If
Nah,
that goes towards the
can't get
water
that
truck.
much money.
You read
But,
on
you
that.
know,
Think about a four-wheel drive vehicle.
DVD player or cones or a computer or, you know, things like that are the things that they said we could get.
Yeah.
But I need you to read it.
She needs me to read this. Resolution 2014-2, a resolution authorizing the City of Petersburg, Tennessee to participate in the Pools Driver Safety Loss Control Matching Grant Program. Whereas the safety and well-being of the employees of the City of Petersburg is of the greatest importance, and whereas all efforts shall be made to provide a safe and hazard-free workplace to increase safe driving practices for the City of Petersburg employees, and whereas the pool seeks to encourage the establishment of a safe workplace and driving practices by offering a driver safety loss control matching grant program, and whereas the City of Petersburg now seeks to participate in this important program, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Petersburg, Tennessee, the following. Section 1. The City of Petersburg is hereby authorized to submit application for a driver safety loss control matching grant program through the pool. Section 2, the City of Petersburg is further authorized to provide a matching sum to serve as a match for any monies provided by this grant. Resolved this 10th day of March in the year of 2014.
I told the mayor, I believe it's $1,200. It's a small grant, but anything we do like that, and anything TML sees us trying to improve upon.
I understand that, but would that be, we would match 600 out of 12?
How many people would this?
Just the employees here, it would benefit the,
All the employees?
they said you
Or
could
just
buy,
the one that, like the police and the one that drive the city?
it's mainly for training purposes.
Oh,
We can get training DVDs, in which we need to be doing all these things. We really need a monthly hold of OSHA
Yeah,
looks.
according to the new
very
thing we
favorably on that.
just adopted, we're supposed to be
This
holding
kind of goes
classes.
hand in hand.
Of course, with our officers, they're getting training all the time anyway.
Got theirs and-
But we need to go over our emergency operations plan that we updated
That could
last
be
year.
one, that could be 1 month.
Then I could get Doug or one of them come down that are certified through the state of Tennessee for driving classes that could give us a class.
But you're talking about this can buy a projector,
Yeah.
screen, that can not only be utilized for that training, but I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you can use it in here
You
on
could use
meeting.
it on
Like
anything,
tonight,
but
if
be
you
used
had-
on the
I mean,
training.
it could be a versatile tool.
Yeah.
Instead of just on the wall. you
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't.
We work with what we got right now. I think it'd be a good thing.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2014-2.
Okay, got a motion, do I have a second? Got a second. Mr. Boland, do we have any more discussion on this resolution? Not all in favor of adopting resolution 2014-2, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Oh.
I'll type that note before you sign.
Okay. Next, reports from town boards and commission, codes.
Think you
Chicken
remember
letters.
that?
We got our
Chicken
chicken
letters.
letter. Of course, we discussed, I believe, last meeting, about to clean up on some of these properties. We're checking into some legalities, and we will be drafting a letter for the ones that are completely out of compliance that look horrid, and we will be sending them a certified letter.
Is the first letter that we're going to do certified going to be similar to this other letter we have that is a warning type first, or is
I
a?
think to cover ourselves, I think we need to do a warning and give them 30 days to comply. And then within that 30 days, if they've made no effort, we need to turn around and send them one saying that you will be fined, and then start from there. Or we could put it in this letter because most of the people have been towed. on this
Well, I
here.
think you're right there, but if you do send a warning, I think they need to know what the fine would be.
Yeah, I think we need to put that in there with you. You know,
I
that you
agree
can be
with you. They
fined.
have been,
And two, one of the things we've got is the health and safety issue on some of them, which that gets into a stiffer fine. That gets into about $500 a day. So, you know, if it's a health hazard and everything else, it needs to be put in there that you can be fined from $5 to $500.
You know, it's, as far as letting them know what the fines are, we can,
Well, we just send them a copy in there with the letter with it and let them know.
you know, that's something I've been trying to do with zoning violations, is actually print them a copy of the ordinance off and mail it with them.
Because that way, you know, if they say, well, I don't know what it says, they've got a copy and they can read it. But it's getting close to Gussie up time. I think we need to get the letters sent out here pretty quick with a copy of the ordinance. And we have probably 14 maybe
Now that may be something we could do with the
with the water.
quality.
They just put them in there with the water quality with a copy of that. Just send it out to everybody, letting them know, because some of the people are starting to let theirs go a little bit. Of course, we've got some older folks, which I'm included, that can't get around like we used to and can't do what we used to, but, you know, might have some youngins that you can coax into coming over and helping you out, feed them or something. But I think that's what we need to do, is go ahead and put it in there with the water quality report and send it out to all of our citizens here. That way, every one of them be aware of it.
Approximately how many households is that in the city limits?
I mean, we got the city.
Need some water quality all the way down there, don't you?
Yeah, I'll have to break it up
Yeah.
into the routes. We have 544 is the population, but as far as households,
We just did that with Sherry.
I know, I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was.
I can't either, I found
Was
something.
Was
Go
it
back
three
and-
something?
Huh?
Was it three something?
320?
Oh, that's pretty ballpark.
320?
I think so.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, because we
We
had to
just
break
had to
it up.
figure that out for her.
Do we have a bulk permit to go with this thing?
Yeah. I think we'll just send it with it and
First class.
go from there.
We will on this,
On this here. The ones with the chickens, we're gonna address it for the ones who got chickens, because they ain't about
but on
nine.
the problem area,
We're gonna send it to everybody and let them know what it is. So if you start stacking stuff up, and stuff what you can be fined. But like I said, with some of them, we have a health issue.
Well, I was looking at what he's got on the screen. What is that?
City data,
Okay.
Who?
city data.
Yeah, that's a
We'll
good idea.
go ahead and do that and just put it down, put it in with it. All right, that's about all I got on the codes.
Households.
Corey, you ready for the alphabet?
Sure. I'm gonna just hit you some high points this month on it. Saddle Creek, back open under new management. If you haven't noticed, also the drive-in, they're getting ready to reopen.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was told they were gonna have to get a new digital projector. I don't know if they got that or not, but apparently
Must have got something.
they did something, so because they're saying they're reopening. In that same general vicinity, CK&A, if you've been by there, you're seeing that thing starting to come together.
Yep.
April 3rd, be a business expo sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. Be at the old board and milk plant there in town. It's now called the Powder Room, but it's the old board and milk plant there off East Commerce. It's a business expo. That's a tradition that started last year, and we're going to continue that this year. The Art Guild on the square. If you haven't been up there, there's an art guild, and they're doing periodic events there as well, where local artists can come in and display their art. If I can read my own writing. There is research underway to look into the feasibility of providing wireless broadband internet to the entire county. That's a major undertaking. And the idea behind that is more and more people are working from home. My brother-in-law just took a job, big-time job. He's really not going to have to leave his house. He can do his job from home on the internet. And the idea behind that is if you have wireless broadband available in your community, you stand a better idea, better chance of attracting executives that can basically telecommute. They can work from home, and therefore they're staying in your community and spending money in your community. So that's the thought process behind that. Maybe looking not just a Marshall County deal, but maybe partnering with our South Central Development District partners, Lincoln County, Moore County, Bedford, Coffee, Giles, all going in together and maybe, going to these big providers like AT&T and saying, hey, because, what can you do to provide wireless broadband in this region? Because we're getting more and more away from trying to be individual counties. The governor's program that he put in a few years ago, he wants to have development districts, throughout the state. And of course, our little section right here is kind of turned into a little hotbed with Nissan and other manufacturers coming in. Sales tax over the last 7 months in Marshall County has averaged well over $500,000 per month. So as far as sales tax dollars coming into the county, it had dropped below the $500,000 mark for a little while, but we have seen a steady 7 months now where it's been in excess of $500,000 each month.
We're doing our part.
We are. We're doing our
What we've
part
got.
for Dollar General.
That's right.
Housing permits also from 2012 to 2013 are up 50%. Now that's to say there were 6 new housing permits in 2012. There are 9 new housing permits in 2013. But that number even now at the beginning of 2014 is starting to climb as well. Don't have all those numbers in yet. Probably will have them tomorrow. But you're starting to see, and a lot of that's happening up on the north end of the county in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill is really, really growing now. And then finally, the last thing I'll tell you about, I guess it was early last week, I had an invitation, no, it was the week before, last week of February, to attend an event, big deal actually, with Columbia State, who is a major player in Marshall County. We don't really think about it, but they are. Columbia State has entered into a 2+2 program with MTSU, where now if you have the desire to go and get a BS in agribusiness, you can do so exclusively at the Columbia State Academy. And it is a degree that is offered from Middle Tennessee State University, but you do not have to drive to Murfreesboro for your classes. You can do all of your work right there at the Lewisburg campus. And agribusiness, it's not your granddaddy's agriculture anymore. It's a big time, multi-million-dollar. I talked about my brother-in-law. That's what he's in. He's in agribusiness. So I don't want him to make more money than I do, but that may be what winds up happening eventually. So I expect better Christmas gifts from him. So, but that's your economic development report for the month of March from Marshall County.
Next is Planning Commission.
Planning Commission kind of light schedule we discussed tonight. We've got one that is looking to put up a shed out here on the property. I've got 2 or 3 projects that are in front of Will Owen right now, kind of waiting for some approval. Mr. Robert Dow approached the Planning Commission earlier tonight talking about a project he's got in store that he's working on. Had to send out a letter about a zoning violation this last week. Just got the return receipt on it today from being certified mail. Hopefully, the gentleman will get back with me over the next day or so and we can get that issue resolved and get him into compliance. If you haven't noticed, Cole Blocker has started on his project here on the square in the last week. So hopefully now with the weather starting to turn, we're going to see some progress going on there. But he officially got started this last week on that. So any progress on that, in my opinion, is good progress. So glad to see something going on there. We did postpone our meeting just in case you showed up last Monday night and we weren't here. We did postpone that for a week because of the weather. So.
All right, next item, fire department, first responders.
Lieutenant
few calls this time, successful calls, and we've had some community service kids coming down to work at the station, getting it looking good. Just,
Did some hose testing this last weekend.
yeah, we did, just extra hose. We haven't been using it, but it didn't get tested last time. Just dug it out of the bag and just got it up.
Added a new fireman.
We did have Jared Fulton.
Jared Fulton.
He was voted in yesterday.
That's good.
Next item is senior citizens.
Well, as you all know, February was a short month. It's even shorter for us. 20 weekdays in February, those were the days that were normally open down there, but we were only able to be open 17. And that's because we closed 2 days for inclement weather and 1 day for the President's Day holiday. But we really did a lot of work in those 17 days. Our home delivery, or Meals on Wheels, as most people know them, delivered 142 meals to homebound clients. We served 190 meals in the center dining hall. We received the total maximum meals from the South Central Human Resource Agency of 170 meals. This is the first time we've had every meal that we could get our hands on in a month in South Central. And we fed all those. In addition, we hosted a potluck luncheon and fed an additional 19 meals. So we fed 190 folks, or 190 meals in that center in the month of February. And this center has come from a threat of going to be closed due to lack of participation to maxing out all of our meals in the 4 months. So I think that's a pretty good record. At the beginning of February, I think this was mentioned in the last meeting, we mailed flyers to almost 90 Petersburg senior households. And at the end of February, we had 30 registered participants in our program, and that's like a 400% increase from our beginning 4 months ago. So that's good numbers too. And as we enter March, attendance continues to grow every week, more new people come. Now, my personal goal for this summer is to have 100 registered participants and 20 people enjoying a meal down there every single weekday. Good news from South Central Human Resource Agency is they've lifted the caps on the number of meals we can serve. For the next 4 months, we've been limited to 9 meals per day. In the next 4 months, we can feed as many people as there is a need to feed in a Petersburg center. So that's good news too. Our building remains humble. It's the best word I can give for our senior building. It's a humble building. And as you already know, the interior painting that began in December was completed in January. The winterization of the windows with plastic to help us sort of winterize and keep out this nasty winter cold was also completed in January. And the emphasis in February has been directed to plumbing. The plumbing is not necessarily the tightest in the building. The kitchen plumbing was replumbed at the sink. Putting it on, you strainer baskets, connect the PVC pipes, the sprayer, and repairs have been made to the water heater, including the replacement of the pressure release valve, the cutoff valve, and both heating elements. This also repaired additional leaks because water heater was leaking everywhere. Now, at some point in time, the hot and cold water had become cross-plumbed in the building. And so we had hot water going to the ladies' toilet. We had warm water going to the kitchen sink. We had hot water going to the men's cold water tap. And that's been straightened out. But back, I'm assuming when the building was used as a school, they put in anti-scald guards in the restrooms. And apparently after 50 years, they failed. So hot water was recirculated back through the cold water system, and we were just heating lots of water everywhere. So that water has been now separated. And the ladies' toilet now has cold water. And we have all this work has resulted in a dependable supply of hot water that was especially needed in the kitchen. And hopefully this will also reduce our work. Now, our activity programs, we do a lot more than just eat down there. We do several activities, and they are growing, and we're looking for more volunteers to help us with that. But we had 34 planned activities in the center in February in 17 days. We had 22 of our 30 registered participants enjoy that program. That's almost a 75% participation rate, which is very good. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you had 75% of your citizens in here tonight at this meeting to do that? So we've had a very good month for that. It shows that people are not only coming to eat a meal, but to socialize with their peers. We also had 96 volunteer hours donated to the center in February. We've had, since the beginning, we've had 22 donors who have made 37 donations of goods to the service, to the center, and a couple of those were cash gifts that were made to the center. So we're beginning to pick up things, refurbish the center as we go along. Ms. Barbara has some newsletters that I will share with you. This is our first published newsletter for the center. It was written for seniors. It's in large print. It's not in columns. We don't jump from page 1 to page 3 to page 4, back to page 1 again. We just sort of follow the information through. This is primarily written for the members. It gives them a sense of unity. It lets everybody know what's going on at the center at all times. There is a calendar of events on page 2, and there's a menu of the meals that will be serving on the back page. So that just gives that information of what we do. And I also wanted to, Mr. Bolander has mentioned, but I'd also like to invite everybody to our fundraiser. And next month, we hope that you will all be able to support this again.
I have to add one thing to what Miss Trish has said. All of that work on the plumbing down there was done and donated to the center. The labor and all the parts we have not been billed for it. We won't be billed for it. And I want to give Mr. Sam Bruton a hand for doing that. Sam is the maintenance engineer, or whatever they call him there at Federal Square, and he takes care of all their problems there. And he has worked many hours up there on that plumbing, so we appreciate it, Sam. I guess that's it.
All righty. That's a good report. Like to see things progressing. That's good. All righty. Next is Parks and Rec. Ms. Bridget.
Parks and Rec met in February, on the 24th. We worked on details entailing our extravaganza upcoming workday at Morgan Park. The workday for our spring workday is March 15th. That's this coming Saturday. We plan to arrive at 9:30 in the morning and work until around 1 or 1:30. We're purchasing 20 yards of mulch from Lewisburg's Farmers Co-op at their cost. Mr. Gene Robertson has agreed to take his dump truck and pick it up for us and deliver it. It should be a full load. We're going to get it installed by the community service juveniles. If you have free time, please feel free to come volunteer your labor. We can find something for anybody to do, I'm certain. The extravaganza is set for March 5th at Morgan Park. Festivities begin at 10 a.m. and last until about 1. Registration will be until about 10:30. Registration is just more or less so that we can divide the eggs as evenly as possible over the children. Last year we had about 95 kids. That's not counting parents and grandparents that came to watch, and we had a pretty good crowd. It was good to see that many people out there at our park. We're going to have a bouncy house and games to keep the kids busy during registration and in between hunts. Every committee member has volunteered to help organize a portion of the event. Please feel free to come out and volunteer or spectate. The volunteer fire department will be on hand with the fire truck, along with the police officers and the police cars to get to know and interact with the kids. Children in our community need positive adult influences, and this is a great opportunity for any of us who are possibly a positive influence to be around and let them interact. Not everybody has that at home. I feel certain that this one's only going to be bigger and better than last year's. We've got flyers that we're going to send out to Unity, and we've got flyers that are going out this next week or so in businesses. I've already got a few kids signed up, so we're well on our way. We're still actively trying to get sponsorships because we receive no tax money from the county or city for anything that we do. Everything that we do is money that we raise on our own and from our sponsors. So far this year, we mailed out sponsor letters, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? So far, I need to add one to it because it came in today and I had typed this up last night. Fayetteville Lumber sent us 125, Higgins Funeral Home sent 125, and that's a single event sponsorship. So they'll have a banner at the one event of their choice. Gallant Funeral Home, First National Bank, and Marshall Medical renewed their sponsorship of $300 for the year, and they'll have a banner and a plaque at the park at all of our events. So that just so far in the past 2 weeks is $1,150. We're well on our way. We still need money to be able to do what we need to do and to reach our goals that we have set for this coming year. We appreciate any and all support and hope you all can be with us Monday, March 24th at our monthly meeting at 5 p.m. We meet every fourth Monday at 5 o'clock.
All righty, good report. Glad to see the things you got going. And like I said, we just hope that we have more this year than what we had last year. It was a good turnout. A real good turnout. There was kids everywhere.
Every year we come up with a different strategy of how we're going to do something, and
Mailing these flyers to the school, or
sending these flyers to the school helps.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's no trouble. I'm taking when I take my kids.
Yeah.
and
Jack does his part.
Jack does his part on the radio. Papers do their part. I send flyers and things to the papers, and they have our whole schedule of things that we have for the year. So
All the events that y'all put on have been very successful. We've had
we work hard.
groups of people that, yeah, y'all do.
We work
Parks and
very
Rec
hard.
work hard to get it. It's a lot different what it was several years ago.
And, you know, it's,
Community center, we had a good turnout Saturday night for that.
but, you know, also, if you see something going on at the park that just looks questionable, don't hesitate to call one of our officers. You know, we've
Yeah.
had a lot of
That's something else.
problems.
We're consulting with a few other parks and a few other counties around to try to get a list of some rules to post at the park to where we don't have unattended children, we don't have people out there after dark, we don't have trash and littering left around, and we've also, we're trying to get with MTAS to see about getting some game security cameras out there so that we'll be able to keep track of vandalism, because we've had several instances of people writing and carving and even taking cigarette lighters and burning holes
In our
into
tables.
some of our tables and our equipment. And like I said, we do this voluntarily. We get nothing back out of it except getting to enjoy being with other people and seeing our hard work enjoyed by others. And then it gets vandalized by other people. So we're trying to figure out a way to possibly eliminate some of that and be able to hold some people accountable.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to put cameras out till we got approval.
Yeah, we've got to get approved
Look, it's
by MTAS and make sure everything's okay there.
Yeah.
I do know that some Franklin parks on their walking trails do have security cameras,
Mhm.
and I think it's more because it is.
It's a safety issue for
Yes.
people walking it.
Yes, which, when you have children out there who are unattended, like we frequently do, it would be a safety issue.
But they've
But
already
also-
started using the park.
Right.
In the
But-
last couple
But
of
also
weeks.
too, our park does not have a fence around it, and several of the other area parks do have fences around it. And that, that keeps people from being able to use it after dark, and, you know, things that shouldn't be going on aren't going
But
on.
we could get signs put up down there, no one in the park after a certain
Well,
hour.
that's what we were gonna put on our,
Well, basically, we
On
need
the
to do
back
it
of our
with our
sign.
curfews, I guess.
uh-huh. Well, and I mean, it was an adult, Corey and I were driving through back last fall, and we saw 2 adults sitting at a picnic table, and it was almost dark. I mean, we could see the shadows. But I saw a cigarette lighter on the table, and them holding it on the table. So I called the police officer on duty, and she took care of it. But I mean, just little things like that kind of,
You know, when you put a lot of hard work into things, and you got people that have no more,
no more respect.
for what we're trying to do and what y'all do, it's sad.
Well, and I mean, just like the egg hunt, we don't charge the children to hunt eggs. We don't charge for the snacks. We don't charge for anything. We take up donations that day, but we don't charge for anything that day. Everything is free that day. The main, Halloween is the same way. The main thing in our events that we charge anything for are our fall cruise in and the crowd day. Those are our 2 fundraising things. And we don't charge for everything on those.
Like I said, y'all doing a fantastic job. Just keep up the good work. We'll see if we can't control some of that junk going on down the park. Like I said, if we put some signs up, no one in the park after this period of time.
Well, I mean, I would like for kids to be, I mean, insurance is, town is liable if anybody
Oh,
gets
yeah.
hurt out there. And kids under the age of, 13 or 14 don't need to be out there unattended either,
No.
because
You're
anything
right
could
there.
happen.
A lot of times the signs will be a general rule, it's the park is closed dusk to dawn.
Don't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, we're working with other counties and other parks and recreation groups to get,
You could spend 30 days in jail and all that.
In our little jail we got back here.
well, if I see kids vandalizing stuff, and my child has done it, my 7-year-old, I have seen her try to do something that she was not supposed to do, and I have made her work to clean it up. So,
Well,
I mean, but not every parent is going to be that way.
Yeah.
And if I see any children, you know that I will hold them accountable.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well,
Definitely.
some
Or
of them
grown
wrote their names on the table.
Right, on the
so
table.
We
And
sent.
they were in my child's class at school.
That's about like being up at the courthouse and carving your name in the back of the benches there.
Right.
And, put your name, your girlfriend's name there, and then you
And
go,
maybe your phone number,
and, you look at the docket, and you go, well, Billy Joe, Jim Bob, and Sally Sue were here today on court, and there's their name on the back of this thing here. They have been charged.
Well, and some of them get up in that tunnel thing, that wooden, that's the L-shaped
Yeah.
tunnel, and they'll get in there. And because Lily said, well, that's where I got the idea, because there's all kind of right in there. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't get up in there and clean it out.
It's gonna be a
Understand.
gosh job.
All righty. That's a good report from Parks and Rec. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say before we get ready to adjourn?
Just, she mentioned the community center earlier. There is a page on the town website now at townpetersburg.com where if you didn't get out to the fundraiser at any time, you can go there now, click the donate button and donate online to the Petersburg Community Center. And you can actually choose to make that a recurring monthly payment if you so choose. If you want to make $1 a month to the Petersburg Community Center, if you want to donate $100 a month, you can click a button and it'll automatically draft each month for
We
you.
set that up a week and a half ago, and we had
Brought in
294.
300 and some odd,
We got 294.
yeah, 294
Just
actually we
getting
had
it out there
there.
is what it is, where people can see it.
There's a Facebook page for the community center, and y'all know me,
Bird Center.
Bird Center to 90210.
Hey, it works. It works. Whatever works. Appreciate everybody being here. Had some good reports, some good discussions on some things that we need to get done. We shall get those things in the work, try to get them done. Anybody else? Anybody else has anything else to say? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Got a second. All in favor for adjourn? Say aye.
She was
Any
sneaking that much.
opposed?